Hi, everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Flock Talk. I'm Robin Sullivan of the Leather Elves. I have the usual just announcements to make. Can please like us on Facebook. That way you get notification, like the Leather Elves on Facebook. That way you get notification when we go live. You can follow us on Instagram, and you can subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. There's a lot of different ways you can stay connected with Friday Night Flock Talk, the Leather Elves, and all the different things that we do. One of which is a new group that we've put together. It's the Foraging Flock. It's a membership group, and we're going to have our first meeting in October. Anybody who is already signed up to be a member, we'll be sending out an email this weekend about that, with information about that. Some of the benefits of the Foraging Flock are we're going to have a virtual monthly meeting. You get a free toy when you sign up, a toy on your bird's hatch day. There are member specials and discounts. There will be some DIY offers that are specific to you guys, and some discounted behavioral consults if that's something that you're needing. You can go to theleatherelves.equid.com and put in Foraging Flock, and it will come up, and you can join and purchase your membership that way. So my guest this week, normally when I have a guest on, I'm fairly familiar with the topic. I'm fairly familiar with the information that we're going to share. But this week, my guest is someone that is it's a little different. It's a little outside my comfort zone. And so I'm going to be learning right along with you guys this week. So it is my pleasure to introduce, Maya Ivanjesku. So, hi, Maya, how's it going?
Hey, Robin, going really good. And you know what? You said it real well. And you know what? You know more than you think you do. So
Well, I can fake my way through stuff.
you're good,
Um,
man.
but I want to read people your bio because it's pretty impressive. Maya is a creative visionary, although a chemist. Her passion is for creating natural healing remedies. She holds a master's degree in chemistry from NYU, and with over 30 years of experience in developing products for the various industries, Maya is a formulation expert. Her career path started at the Estee Lauder companies, where she was formulating products for all their brands: Estee Lauder, Clinique, Origins, Bobbi Brown, Aveda, and La Mer. With her passion for science and nature, Maya also ventured into biotech, OTC, and topical prescription and medical device formulation, and developed topical prescription formulas for numerous pharmaceutical companies and the first probiotic skincare line. However, the patent she received for the skincare line came from the idea of stabilizing the live and active cultures of bacteria for the bird food that her husband Stan uses to this day to ensure the health of the birds he raises at the Avian Research and Conservation Center. You're pretty impressive.
Oh my goodness. Thank you.
So,
Well, when you have passion
um,
of what you do, you just keep doing the same thing and it gets better and better and better,
it's it's so true, and I have to tell people so that I asked you before we went live, whether you're a bird person or whether it was because of Stan, and your answer was no, but you love them anyway. And I think when you and I talked a couple weeks ago, we were talking about well-being, and I could tell just from our conversation that that's your focus. So tell everybody what your favorite bird is.
My favorite bird, well, I have three, but my very, very favorite recently is Vulturine guinea fowl. It's the one with has like the dark blue on the bottom and then
Mhm.
black feathers over it. They look kind of weird, but I just love them. I just love. But then I also love the Argus. Argus is, of course, my favorite. Do have the feather up here. Look.
There we go.
So yeah, but in the beginning, I used to love the Lady Amherst because he knows how to dance in front of
There you
her and does all that.
it's you know so that love kind of happens, and regardless of whether they're your favorite or not, you want them to be well. And so how did this I didn't ask you, we didn't discuss this prior. How did this come about? I mean, is it because your passion is for the chemistry? Like, how did this happen?
How did this? Good question. So my when my husband started, raising common pheasants, and then, well, not common. They're all beautiful. They call them common. To me, they're all the same. I don't care whether they're so. His passion was really to bring the number of the birds to a better number, right? So get them away from the extinction. And so when he started raising them, we kind of, just like everybody else, they were getting sick, or they would die, or why is this one not fertile, or they didn't hatch right. So then I'm like, you know what? That's got to be a health issue. It's got to be the environment they're in. So, his job was, okay, take care of the aviaries. This is your
Mhm.
job. And I'm going to take care of, their well-being within, and, their bodies, right? Because this is what I enjoy doing. And you're absolutely right. That is my passion, whether it be a human or a bird or my dog or my kids. Wait, they're human. Yes. So,
Yeah.
anybody that's in, have any kind of ailment, I always am going to figure out how to help you fix it, right? So, he couldn't um, hatch, or he couldn't get fertility from, I forget which species. It could be I don't remember. And so I said, you know what? I think your birds need better immune system, and they need better absorption, and they need to be less medicated, and just like humans, right?
Mhm.
For us, when we take antibiotics, what do they tell you? Eat yogurt, right? Because you just killed all this good flora in your gut. Well, you need to eat yogurt to replenish all that
Mhm.
good bacteria. And we can talk about it, why that is, but that's how it started. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to get not yogurt into, because they shouldn't really eat dairy, so,
Mhm.
or whatever. So I said, you know what? I'm going to figure out how to get live bacteria into their gut, and to replenish and boost their immune system. And you're going to figure out what they need in their environment, whether it be a rock or a waterfall or whatever the plant is.
Mhm.
I don't know, right? So, we tackled that twofold. And, over the years, it's been really successful. And I am so fortunate and happy. And I mean, he just had Parasiriamas give birth to babies, and she raised them in the nest all by herself. And I guess that doesn't happen. I don't know, but they just did this. And I'm like, what?
And I mean, when you and I were talking before last week or the week before, we were talking, and in my head, we were talking probiotics, and it was about physical health. And then you said to me, well, it's about psychological health as well. Can you reiterate that for people who are listening?
Sure. So probiotics work on, yes, twofold. When you have um, bacteria that's not wanted, or I don't want to say bad bacteria, but pathogenic bacteria in your gut, in order to eliminate that pathogenic bacteria, you want to introduce, whether it be antibiotics, right? So, and also probiotics to replenish that good flora back. Well, when probiotics take over, and when they thrive, they produce different postbiotics. Now, this is another term. Um, so when birds are sick, right, they feel down, they feel off, kind of like us. They
Mhm.
have, their eyes are half open, right? They just want to sleep. They're depressed. They're not feeling right? It's not just physical pain, but it's also because you get all these poisons in your body, right?
Mhm.
They deliver these poisons. They go into your brain to kind of calm you down. Well, probiotics, on the other hand, when they take over, they excrete postbiotics, a lot of different vitamins, minerals, nutrients. So when they are in your gut or bird's gut, they send these good signals into your brain saying, hey, we feel good, you should feel good, because there's definitely a brain and your gut connection. Well, there's a skin connection too, but I'll get to that's a different topic. But there's a brain and a gut connection. So when your gut's healthy, the signals going into your brain and you feel better. You're not depressed, you're not down, because there's no toxin. There's no, and the signals are just all positive, right? But when you're imbalanced in your gut or in a bird's gut, we just kind of feel not so good, don't want to do anything, depressed, it,
Mhm.
it's even hard to get out of it to try to help yourself, right? So that's why you need someone like me who's like, do this.
The so and I think that's really important because a lot of times people say, "Oh, my bird seems down," or it's something that I'm doing, or it's something that they're not getting enough enrichment. And in some cases, that is true,
Maybe.
or but it may be something like this is going on that they need to be considering. So by definition, what is a probiotic?
So probiotic is well, the literal word of probiotic means for life.
Mhm.
Pro means for, bio means life. So for life. So meaning probiotic means they're there to support life. So it's a good bacteria that we have in our gut, on our skin, in our mouth, in our ear. We have it all over. So we are really one big bacteria carrier, whether it's good and bad, whether it's a good balance or bad balance. We have, but probiotic in essence means a community of good bacteria that supports life in its best. So
Okay. And so when you see, we talk about us and our skin and our bodies, same holds for birds, correct?
same holds for birds. So, most all of the conditions that we experience that makes you tired or you don't feel good are really triggered by the imbalanced microbiome, meaning your flora, your bacterial system, whether it's us or birds, is somehow imbalanced. And most of those conditions are triggered by that imbalance. So, um, any disease, well, there's a bunch of different, but any disease in your gut, I think most of it starts here in our gut. Our gut is the main immune um, arsenal, if you would, for our entire body. Same thing with any really living being, even the
Mhm.
birds. They have their own gut system that it's the immune arsenal for their bodies. I'm sorry, I'm just going to close the door.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. So as far as you can tell if a bird's off or an animal is off, and it may be because of this. Is it diagnosable? Like, is that a word? Is it able to be diagnosed? Like, if I take my bird to the vet, are they going to tell me they're off balance? Is that a possibility, or is it more of a kind of watch and observe thing?
So that's a great question because I am not sure, So I am in the pharmaceutical field, and a lot of times people are just want to feed you pharmaceuticals.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying every vet, every doctor, but I think more holistic veterinarians would say, you know what? Why don't we try to do a probiotic kind of a,
Mhm.
um, you know, angle to see if this will help before we go into let's do antibiotics or whatever you want to throw at them. So so I studied biochemistry, and I was going to be a doctor, but that didn't work out. um, so when we talk about antibiotics, and yes, they're great, but let's not that be our first choice. Like
Mhm.
if let's be something, let it be something that it's a little more in, not so invasive. So
Mhm.
maybe it is a probiotic, because I know when, I'm not feeling well, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go get my kefir grains and,
Yeah.
try to figure that out before I. So to answer your question, I really don't. It depends of the doctor. Would they, or veterinarian, would they even recommend that? But I would say, the audience, maybe try there first.
Mhm.
See what, because it's not going to harm them at
Right.
all.
Yeah.
So give it a few days, see how they do, and there's actually tricks to that. So we can get back to that one. How to
Okay.
do that?
It was, because it was interesting when I posted that we were going to be talking tonight. A gentleman said he only does what his veterinarian tells him to do. And I said, absolutely, that's somebody that you trust, somebody that you work with. And I wouldn't suggest that people kind of go out there rogue and do their own thing. But it is something, probiotics are definitely something for them to consider. Um, but it's not, I wouldn't go against if there's a vet that you're comfortable with that is open-minded. And I think that's part of it, is that you need to work with somebody that is open-minded. But it would definitely be um, a possibility. So um, Elaine just
You
asked,
can
she said her
always
vet. Go
Sorry, you
ahead.
can always ask your vet, right? Hey, now that you learned that you said, at this podcast, I heard from Robin, the leather elves. We talked about probiotics. What do you think? Ask your vet.
Yeah.
Doesn't never hurts. Yeah.
So Elaine says, this is Elaine who has Kamala. She's a blue and gold. She says that her vet says each species has different probiotic needs. How do you address that?
Yes, and they do. So our bodies are going to maintain the microbiome that we're supposed to have, right?
Mhm.
So we can never alter that, no matter what, because our gut is created. It's our unique footprint, fingerprint. Same thing for the bird, same thing for any living animal, right? So we don't want to alter that. All we want to do is replenish the good flora. So your own microbiome, your own flora, kind of like when you eat yogurt, your own flora can thrive more and multiply and not have to fight for the environment and food and whatever and with each other, right? So probiotics support your good flora. So whether it's doesn't matter which probiotics you introduce, they will support the good flora that the birds have already in their system at the smaller number. So they
Mhm.
will fight the pathogenic bacteria off. They'll help. It's kind of sending, like sending United Nations to a war zone, right? So they'll fight the bad guys off and help create an environment where your good flora that you're already supposed to have in your
Mhm.
DNA can thrive and then create your immunity and good microbiome balance in the gut or skin or feathers or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, so, okay, probiotic, prebiotic.
Yeah.
What is a prebiotic?
So any living being has to eat something. Probiotics are live bacteria that need food as well. So prebiotic is just a fancy name for a food for the live bacteria, for the probiotics. So there's many different prebiotics, and they're in a form of fiber or different nutrition, vitamins, minerals, what have you, but mainly fiber. They love thick fiber. That's what they thrive
Okay.
on. So that's why, like your doctor would say, hey, eat a lot of oatmeal or whatever, eat a lot of fiber to create a good gut health. Well, same thing
Okay.
for the birds. Yeah.
Interesting. So
So
the
a good
prebiotic help.
prebiotic, sorry.
Go ahead. No, no, you go
So
ahead.
a good prebiotic is one of the good prebiotics for the birds is chicory root and papaya, and because they have a lot of enzymes and fiber. So chicory root is actually one of the best ones for the
Okay.
birds that I found.
And so then that help. So if you're doing a good prebiotic, then and then you do probiotics, it's kind of like the pathway in for the probiotics.
Yeah. So scenario, let's say a bird was given an antibiotic, um, that actually when they take it kills everything, right? It kills bad and good. So now we need to replenish. So I would say do the probiotic, but yeah, also do increase the amount of the food for that
Mhm.
probiotic that you just gave that bird, so that bacteria can thrive and create the environment for the bird's gut bacteria to grow and thrive as well, because they need food too,
Mhm.
right? So even your own gut bacteria or bird's gut bacteria needs food.
Okay, that makes sense for me. So Jody just asked, is it possible to give too much probiotic to your birds?
Yes, it is, because well, how much it is too much, right? But it is possible. I mean, anything. If you just feed your bird just probiotics, 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 and you don't feed them anything else, just like anything in life, too much of water, you drown, right? So
Mhm.
it's too much of anything is not good. So, uh, but if you, let's say the bottle said give them 1 teaspoon, let's say, and you give them five, that is not going to hurt them.
Okay.
So,
Um,
but you can't just feed them probiotics all day long, all the time, So,
right.
yes, you could
Okay.
definitely, yeah.
So, all right. So we've got everybody, I think bacteria has been demonized, the word bacteria, right? Oh, it's bacteria, it's bad. It's for those of us not in the scientific community. Um, so, why is it important for us to have that live bacteria? Why is it important for our birds to have that live bacteria?
Well, it is important to have the balance of good and bad bacteria, and most of all, having the balance of the good bacteria being in a higher numbers. So, um, when you think about, let's take skin for instance. Maybe everybody can kind of, and I can probably explain easier. So skin has many different layers, and one of the layers is called the microbiome layer. Same thing in our gut. We have the microbiome in the gut. So does the birds. The birds' skin also has a microbiome. So that whole bacteria level on top of the skin is this invisible shield that protects us and the birds or any animal from the environmental stressors. So, such as sun, uh, all now chemicals, even the
Mhm.
computers now, the rays from the sun. So, um, diseases, pathogenic bacterias. So that invisible shield that we have on us is actually something that we should cherish and embrace.
Mhm.
And we are too clean. Our pets are too clean. It's true. And
Right.
when I go and speak at these microbiome conferences, I say, go get dirty. When is the last time you played in the dirt? Right? I asked you that, Robin. Didn't I ask you
Yeah,
that?
you did. You definitely did. And well, it was funny because I have always said, you need to stay grounded and walking barefoot and being in touch with the earth. But it's for this reason as well. There is that sterility that happens when things are too sterile and just, for me anyway, you're not building up any kind of immune system. And your birds are, if your bird is in a, like a China doll in a box, they're not going to get, and we don't want to, assault them
Right.
with bad
Right.
bacteria or anything like that. But they're living creatures and they do need, to build that. So yeah.
So, we strip ourselves with all these antimicrobial soaps, and constant washing and let me spray this alcohol and this peroxide and this and this and this. And I'm not saying, yeah, go be a pig and roll in the dirt. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying is let's not, use all these antimicrobial constantly too much. And I'm not saying don't shower either. I'm just saying, we sanitize a lot. Like I see people every 2 seconds, especially now after COVID, and you know, we're killing our good bacteria. We're killing our defense system, and then a lot of times we ask ourselves, well, why do I have eczema? Why do I have this? Why is my bird, have all these rashes? Why is it this? So there is a way to, you know, bring back a good bacteria onto bird skin. There's a good way to bring bacteria back into the bird's gut, their eyes, whatever, their beaks, because all their mouth, right?
Mhm.
Because all of their parts of their body is covered in bacteria. We just need to keep that balance of good and bad in check.
So is there a way to do that topically with birds?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
We
And
didn't
so
discuss
I,
this ahead of time, but it's making me think, and so
yeah, so I have developed this spray that we use on our birds. And our birds, I don't know if you've seen them. They get to
Mhm.
roll in the dirt and they get to, so we spray the ground. But they also get red and they get different skin conditions. So I do spray them with the probiotic that I create as well. That I created actually for my skincare brand. So I don't know if I mentioned, but um, I have a patent on how to stabilize alive and active probiotic cultures, and it came from the bird world, right? I created a formula for skincare for humans, but it actually came from the bird world, where I developed for my husband to use on his bird. So.
Okay. So there's a lot of discussion, and this is something else I didn't give you a heads up about, but there's a lot of discussion in the parrot world about plucking and overpreening. Um, and there people will come to me and say, how do I change that behaviorally? Well, you've got to rule out medical first, as far as I'm concerned. But something like a topical probiotic might be something that could help with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for
And are
sure.
those
For sure. And it can't
aside?
hurt them.
Right. Right. Um, and are those available? Are there products like that available? Or so we need to get you in production, Maya. Let's go. All right. So you guys, we have to cut this short because
You're
Maya
giving me
has to
another
go.
job?
Don't tell Stan I said that, okay? We won't tell him that I gave you another job. Um, but yeah, I mean, because that is a huge problem in the parrot world, in the companion parrot world. Um, Birds that are, plucking and overpreening. And yes, sometimes there are physical, like internal issues that are going on that cause that because of pain or what have you. But sometimes it's just a skin situation, skin
Right.
condition.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah,
Hmm.
they get dry skin just like us. I mean, I've seen, our vulturines actually have dry skin, and so and different one. I forget some Taracos, I think. So we always look, and every time they're in this distress, that's that's my go-to. And then I figure out later, okay, we need some this and that, what have you. That's where James comes in, right? Mr. Medicine Man. But I'm the kitchen witch. So
Um, so okay, so Nick is asking, does offering probiotics change your bird's droppings?
in what meaning, what, like the color, or what does it look like, or how often?
We're gonna have to wait for Nick. Do 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 do.
I was thinking
Um,
um,
color, smell, more urine, anything
so
different than
probiotics will
normal.
help okay. So probiotics will help birds get rid of toxins, right? Um, So it may as well change for a bit, but long term, it should come back to normal. It should not be this offensive, smell. No, as a matter of, it should be probably less.
Okay.
Um,
So, I mean, it makes sense that if they are getting rid of those toxins, they're getting rid of the bad bacteria, then it could definitely it could be not so pleasant for a little bit, I would think.
but that's good for them, right? It's good to get rid of, kind of like, when we have a stomach virus, it's not that
Yeah.
pleasant, but then kind of, yeah. So, yes, we do notice that, yes, birds would have a little more often of the drug, especially if you give them more inulin rich, like chicory root, like a fiber rich
Mhm.
prebiotics, right? Um, yes, they will have more often, but that's good for them. It's good to get to purge and to especially if they're not moving a lot, if they're
Mhm.
confined too much confinement. So I think it's good. I think it's good.
We have another question. Cindy says, would a topical probiotic help with a skin fungus? Her vet said that leaving them wet after a bath can lead to a fungal infection.
That's a very good question. Yes. So fungus, what is fungus? One of the pathogens, right? We have fungus on our body too, and if it's left unchecked, yeah, it goes and it doesn't feel that good.
Mhm.
So I would say yes. Topical probiotics definitely help fungus, yeast, mold, all those. For girls, fungus is or yeast is not a fun thing. So probiotics help with that. So yes, we do treat our birds on our, we do treat their skin.
Yeah.
And yeah, we don't give them a bath, but after rainy days, yes, we
Mhm.
do go in there
So
and
that kind of brings up an interesting point with companion birds, with citizens that are owned, privately owned, um, bathing. So to get the dust off, to get how does that affect? So would using a probiotic topically kind of replenish what you're washing off? Does that make sense?
yes, I know what you mean. So I would say after a bath. So first of all, we need to figure out what is the soap, and is that killing the bacteria that's already on, right? How much preservatives is there? But it doesn't matter. All in all, if you have a probiotic for the skin for the birds, and I'm not really sure if there's one commercially available. I just know we do it because, and then, well, once we go in production, thanks, Robin.
You
Um,
guys,
I
you
would
can
say
all
that,
thank me later on when this is, a big thing. Not, but I mean,
but
people,
replenishing the skin flora, yes.
yeah, because they're not using soap. But like Carrie says here, she doesn't use misters in Florida. Even though it's warm, it creates a lot of yeast on the skin with the birds. So yeah, it makes sense. And to answer Cindy's question, yes, topical would help, but it also goes back to if you're leaving them wet, that's probably not a good situation either. So, um,
So, so my mister, actually, we do have, it's more of an oil-based product, so it's not water-based. So
okay.
it actually emolliates the skin and the feathers and the shaft of the feathers, right? So it's not really a spray, so it's more of kind of like an emulsion that it
Hmm.
kind of sprays, and then we just kind of rub it with your fingers, and this is actually good to get the circulation going. And they just love it.
So, and there's no problem with them if they ingest it. So, if you do that for a bird, if you put this topical on, and then they preen, um, it's not going to hurt them if they ingest it.
No, that's like putting yogurt on your face and licking your mouth. I
There's
don't
so much
know.
I could there's so much I could say right here, but I'm not going to. Um, This is the PG version. Anyway,
Okay.
Cindy says we need this, so we have a market for you guys already. I may have to call Stan and just tell him that this needs anything. You're like, I can't
Okay.
believe I agreed to do this. So we really talk about, Carrie says it seems like there's a lot of oregano in
So
the,
oregano is a natural antibiotic, and I love that she mentioned that because I created this product, but it's like a little micro emulsion where we put it into the water, bird's water. So, uh, you know, I don't know how it is in the pure world, especially inside the house, because all of our birds are in aviaries outside, but our waters get mosquito larvae, and they get green, and being in Florida, with all this humidity, they get, like, we have to change water every day, and we do. But so when we add a little bit of this oregano micro emulsion that I created into their water, it helps them with their breathing. So, that avian, what is it? Avian, I forget. Help me.
aspergillosis.
Yes, thank you. And it helps them keep the bad bacteria, or at bay while we feed them the probiotics. So it's like every day they get a little bit of this natural antibiotic. So we don't really have to medicate our birds.
Nice, nice. So, we've got people here. We've got Joanna, who is owns Bird Fever out in Indianapolis. She's going to buy from you when you get this done. Elaine's looking for the website where she can buy this. Carrie says that her birds are outside and it helps a ton.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is definitely something that the parrot community is looking for, and this information is really important for them. So how do we when you and I were talking about what we wanted to the points we wanted to touch on, immunity, building immunity. How do we do that with our birds? Because, like I said, we get, there's one school of thought that you've got to keep them away from everything, you've got to keep them safe, but I feel like that's counterintuitive to trying to build a good immune system.
Yeah.
So what do you suggest?
So, like I said, the immunity for all the um, living creatures really is in our gut. Um, the birds, the people, horses. So we cat, it's all in our gut. This is where it starts, right? So if that microbiome balance is out of check, or unintended, or it doesn't have enough food for the good bacteria to thrive, we will feel sick. We will be sick, and most other diseases will come because we can't fight them off. So, in order to keep our gut healthy and our skin healthy, the answer is the probiotics. So, what are some of the culprits that causes this imbalanced microbiome, or the imbalanced flora, or the imbalanced bacteria in our gut, in our bird's gut, in our animals and pets' gut? Well, a lot of times it's stress. We get stressed, birds get stressed. Stress is a huge culprit. So, in order to keep a good immune system and good microbiome flora in your gut, we have to eliminate stress. I don't know how we teach the birds to meditate, but try. We always try to keep them secluded, have their own environment looking right, the waterfalls, what have you, right? Diet is another thing. How do we keep the immune building, boosting? Is the diet, right? A lot of prebiotics. So whether you give your birds probiotics or you don't, whether you believe in them or not, giving your birds, your pets, or yourself a fiber-rich food, the prebiotic-rich food, which is chicory root, papaya, asparagus, And you can do your own research what your bird or your animal or yourself that is rich in fiber, because good bacteria loves fiber.
Mhm.
Bad bacteria like Candida loves sugar, and the Candida is gonna send the uh, brains into your brain, all these waves into your brain saying, "Feed me sugar," and that's where we get sugar cravings. Because guess what? We're not in charge of our body. Candida is, and she says she wants more sugar because she thrives on sugar, right?
Yeah.
So, um, so if you feed your birds a diet that's rich in prebiotics, which is fiber-rich foods, then their gut microbiome will be stronger. Their immunity will be stronger. Even if your vet says don't do probiotics, but at least support the good flora that's already there. And then environment, right? The environment
Yeah.
where they're at. Are we interacting with them? Do they need interaction from? Some birds don't like it.
Mhm.
Like we have some, like, oh, leave me alone. I'm here. I'm good. I don't need you, right? And
Well, it's
then, yeah.
it's interesting. We've got a lot of different comments going on here, and that stress is being implicated in several disease processes in humans. I mean, things like diabetes. It's the same, for the birds. And then when you talk about sugar, I think a lot of times, a lot of us grew up. I don't know about you, but I grew up sugar. Food is love, and the sweeter and the yummier it is, the more I love you. And it's I think it's we get sucked into that with our parrots as well, that, oh, he really loves this sweet, this sweet dehydrated, or freeze dried whatever, because it's all packed into that little nugget. And we feed a lot of sugar, and I think that's something people need to be aware of.
Yeah, and even birds can get a lot of sugar from, I don't, and this is something, everybody should do their own research, because
Mhm.
it's like, okay, what do you give your kids, kind of thing, right?
Right.
So same
Mhm.
thing. I feel like, our birds are like my kids. Yes, I have 3,000 of them or whatever. I don't even know.
Yeah,
But yes.
yeah. So we have a couple of people. We have Nancy, who has a rescue down in Key West. Nancy Forrester is at Nancy Forrester's Secret Garden in Key West. She says she has birds that would benefit, and she would like to maybe we can get you in touch with her, Maya.
Yeah,
And then
I can give
question
out
here.
samples. Yes.
Okay, and then Elaine wanted to know oat sprouts. Are oat sprouts good, fiber
So we have
wise?
not done sprouts, but I don't know. That's something I would have to research and get back to her on.
Okay.
Because I don't know. But I'm
And then what
sure
about
they're full of
dandelion?
fiber. Dandelion greens, yeah, prebiotics.
Yeah.
They're wonderful if your pets love them. Hmm.
So Carrie Ellen's volunteering to come pick you up and do a day trip down to Nancy's in Key West. So Nancy,
Yeah,
Maya, and
girl
Carrie
trip.
are going to be down. I know I need to be in Florida. This is not
Yes,
okay.
come, come.
um, so what kind of thing? What's the best method to deliver probiotics? What's the best, if somebody, goes out and finds a probiotic that they want to use, um, what's the best? How would you suggest they administer those?
So I would say through the food, because mix it in their food before you give them. Some probiotics taste different than others, so you kind of
Mhm.
have to trick your child or bird
Yeah.
to take it. Um, and one suggestion I would say, look at the diversity of the probiotics, because what I mean by diversity. So I teach you this. When you go buy yogurt in local supermarket, always look in the back that says contains live and active cultures of The more cultures listed, the better, because each culture or each probiotic will excrete or fight off or deliver different benefits for your gut. So some probiotics, it will deliver more of the amino acids. Some will deliver vitamin K. Some will deliver vitamin C. So they all produce these nutrients while they are living. So
Mhm.
probiotics not only fight the bad bacteria, they also produce nutrients within your gut, on your skin. So that's another benefit of having a probiotic, that you have fresh vitamin C created right there. If you topically apply right on your skin. But also look at the products that do not contain ingredients that may kill them or may cause the imbalance in your gut or the bird's gut. So one of those, I'm gonna say it, what it is. My biggest culprit, look for products that do not contain disodium, EDTA. And
So
also
so like DI
DI,
sodium.
DISODIUM,
Yeah.
disodium, one word, EDTA. So they should be listing. So this one is a chelating agent. It's a penetration enhancer. It keeps the food fresh. It keeps the products fresh. And it's not a bad ingredient, but it's the one that actually um, binds to um, bad ingredients and delivers into your body. So I always say, stay away from products that contain that, and stay away from products that contain ethoxylates like PPG, PEG 20, PEG 150, polysorbate. So things like of that nature. And I can send that information to you. Maybe we can have another discussion
We no,
because this is all
definitely. I mean,
different
yeah, and
topics.
so would those kind of things, would you find those in products for birds, do you think?
I have to look. I really, I don't know. I
Yeah.
really haven't done, because we make our own, so I don't have
Yeah.
to. But and you know what? A lot of companies don't disclose a lot of stuff, especially companies that make food for us. They
Yeah.
call it concentrated something something, and you don't even know what's in this concentrated something something. And trust me, being a
Mhm.
chemist, I can come up with many things to hide things inside, but I
Yeah.
also know that people do that, and it's
Mhm.
so
So Laurie asks about tea, making a tea out of like dandelion greens or some of the prebiotics. Could you do that? I mean, would that be a way to administer
yes.
it?
So you can
Okay.
make tea if they would take it. So then you can add some chicory root, and so some dandelion chicory root would be wonderful prebiotic for even us. I mean,
Yeah.
I drink that, but yeah. So you and your bird
And
could
then,
have tea dandelion prebiotic before bed.
nice.
Cool.
Well, and the nice
Yeah.
thing too is that if they bathe in it, that wouldn't be detrimental. It would
No.
be just, a topically applied. So that's kind of cool. So we're having people are asking that you come back. So we need to do this again too. Um,
Thank you.
please, another discussion. There you go. So, um, one last thing I wanted to touch on, antibiotics. So, a lot of times birds are prescribed antibiotics. Um, and what, in my opinion, like when you get an antibiotic or when your bird is prescribed an antibiotic, you should get a prebiotic, I mean a probiotic as well. What do you think? I mean, I think we
Yes.
should be doing it all along, but especially then, yeah?
Especially then, yes. So when you take probiotics, antibiotics, I'm sorry. When you take antibiotics, they're wonderful. They save our life, right? They save our pet's life. My dog just had a skin thing, whatever. I couldn't do it, and he needed antibiotics, right? And he's 16. But anyway,
Mhm.
so when we take them, they kill everything. They kill the good and the bad. They don't choose, oh, let me just kill the pathogens that are causing you to feel ill, or your bird or your pet. They kill everything. And so it doesn't mean that, we're not, our bodies are not going to get back to our microbiome flora that we had, or our birds can't, but it'll just take a little longer. And that recovery period, so it leaves you vulnerable again. Yes, you just took these antibiotics, killed everything, but now you have no defensive system in place. So what, you're going to get another round of antibiotics again? No, let's just do the probiotics, build the flora up, be ready to fight off, because we're constantly getting from the environment, our birds are getting from the environment, all these attacks of the pathogens. They're just in the air. There's mold in the air. There's, all this stuff that we fight every single second of the day. So yes, I would say do the probiotics as soon as you have to take antibiotics, or your pet has to take antibiotics. Yes. And I'm
And
not saying don't do antibiotics, but I'm just saying do injunction togetherness. Yes.
well, and I think
And
too,
prebiotics.
yeah, well, we were talking before too about how the nutrient wise, I mean, a lot of the foods that we're feeding are not as nutrient dense as they should be because of the soil condition, because we've over farmed all that kind of stuff. And I think we need to think about what we're putting into our bodies, and is it, or not just our bodies but our birds bodies, and is it, are we promoting that good gut health um, with what we're feeding. So
And just to go back to the product, so yes, you need to look for products that have more diversity of the flora within probiotic, right? So the diversity of flora is important, and abundance, like how much. And also, so when your audience goes and looks for a probiotic on a shelf somewhere, please, ladies and gentlemen, look for, or everybody, peeps, bird lovers, look for diversity in the product. So how many different species of bacteria. The abundance, meaning how much of it, is important. But most important is, ask your vendor a question. Is this a live and active probiotic culture? And um, and they may say yes, it's live, but then you need to ask them, is it live at the time of manufacturing, or is it live right now? Because
yeah.
there's tricks to the game all
Hmm.
over the place. So these are the research that you need to do so you don't waste your money, because buying dead pieces of bacteria, yeah, it could be beneficial, but it's not as beneficial as it could be.
Okay. So we've got a couple of questions. So Michelle she has Shadow, and Shadow has antibiophilus probiotic, but it doesn't list the
The
specifics.
specifics. So if the question is what does that mean, I would say, you know what? If you're a customer of the reputable company that makes this, write them a letter and ask them these questions. First of all, ask them how many different species of probiotics is in the formula.
Okay.
What is the abundance? Like how much? And do they have viability studies? Meaning, is the probiotic in the jar that you have at your house live at this moment, right?
Okay.
As you given it to your bird. And they should be able to answer these. Because I used to give, when I made skincare products, that's what I did. We did viability studies to make sure that, product has live bacteria throughout its shelf life.
So here's a question. I have one that has Saccharomyces cerevisiae from a
Mm-hmm.
well-known bird company. Is this okay?
Yeah, Saccharomyces are awesome, yes. They're
Okay.
good. It's a good probiotics. It's actually a yeast that we actually can make bread with. It's good.
Look at that. All these different things you can do. We didn't even know. And then Nancy was wondering, are you using dried chicory leaves and root?
Yes, so root, mainly root. Leaves
Okay.
are good if you can get leaves, yes. But yeah, I even put chicory root in my coffee beans when I make coffee in the morning, so I have a little prebiotic coffee.
Nice. Coming to your, see, I need to come down. I'm coming to your house. Tell
Okay,
Stan I'll be down.
we
And
got
then
it.
Michelle was asking, would papaya seeds be more beneficial than the flesh?
So I'm not sure about the seeds. I know there's a lot of fiber and also enzymes in papaya that helps boost the metabolism.
Mhm.
Not sure about the seeds. I really am not sure because some fruit seeds is poisonous, like apples. You
Right.
know, so I'm not really sure about the seeds. We always take out the seeds out of our papaya, so I haven't looked into it. But good question though. I'm gonna write that down and
Yeah,
get back
Michelle,
to you.
we can look into that. So, all right. Well, we are almost at 8 o'clock, so we're gonna call this. But Maya, you need to promise that you'll come back.
Okay, I
We love
promise.
you. Everybody, you have a whole constituency here that wants to purchase your probiotics. So, um, yeah,
Thank you.
Carrie
I
says
really I'm really grateful.
this is no, it's wonderful and it's really exciting. And there are a lot of people. There are, bird breeders, companion parrot owners, people who are in rescues. So there's a lot of folks who could benefit from this. So everybody says thank you. Great conversation. And if you guys have questions after the fact, if you go back and listen, just let me know and I can let Maya know and we'll go from there. So
Would love to.
thank you. And just so you guys know, I will not be here. We will not be here the next 2 weeks. Um, but we will be back on the 25th of October. And I'm not sure exactly what we're going to have in store for you then, but I'm working on it. And so please consider joining the foraging flock. I'm really excited about this. We're going to be, discussing different methods of foraging. We're going to be working together, sharing ideas, really trying to get more foraging into our birds' lives and really being with, meeting once a month with like-minded people. I know that a lot of bird clubs are going the way of the dinosaur. So just something to consider. You can sign up and become a member at theleatherelves.equid.com. So, all right, guys, you take care. Thank you again, Maya. And I promise you all, I think she'll come back. So we will definitely be doing this again. Everybody take care and have a great couple of weeks. And I will see you on the 25th.
Bye everybody.